Welcome back, everyone. We got some headlines to go through from Portland. It's going to be great. We're going to go over a few different things. First and foremost, here is a phrase from ancient Rome, and it was used in the courts of Rome. Populus vult decipi, ergo decipiatur. And it means, the people wish to be deceived, therefore let them be deceived. Ultimately, what it means is there's no legal protection for being tricked, for falling for a lie, right? And when you think about today's society, it's extremely true. This is like a fundamental part of how society works, right? Things aren't sold to us based on quality anymore. Things are marketed to us, and whoever deceives the consumer the most wins. How many times have you bought something just to regret it immediately? Yeah, we just all get deceived, right? So this is working on the biggest levels as well. The people wish to be deceived, therefore let them be deceived. So we're dealing with probably the greatest deception in human history, and they're really moving forward. It's not good. One of you left a comment talking about obelisks being used to mark the borders on Canada and Mexico. Yeah, all over the country. All over the country. And you got to understand that they didn't just choose the obelisk because a couple Freemasons were on the survey team. No, this is quite literally the pharaohs marking their territory. These ruling families today are all descended from pharaonic bloodlines, right? Because, and don't be confused by skin color, right? This infiltration has existed since ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt never fell, just like Rome never fell, right? These countries never fall. Nazi Germany never fell. You know what I mean? It's all the same bloodlines and all the same people. And they just put on the show because if they can deceive you, they will deceive you. And you have no protection against that. So why they use this obelisk is because they're the same people, the same ruling class of pharaonic, Freemason, Templar. I could go on forever, right? Nazis. That's what they are, basically, Nazis. And all over the country. Here's one on Canadian border. Yeah, I noticed this on Google Earth. I tried to find the exact spot where I had found one a little while back, but I couldn't. And it's not just on the border. Look at this picture. That's a Masonic handshake. It's on literally every town. Every town in America was surveyed, of course, and they left obelisks everywhere. There are, if I counted all the obelisks in Portland, Maine, on houses and cemeteries as markers, it would be in the thousands. Maybe I'll do that one day. It's ridiculous. It's a symbol of the pharaohs, ultimately. I want to show you this real quick. I'll put this guy's channel in the description below, but basically he lives in Europe and backpacks around, does truth stuff, and right now he's in a Jewish cemetery that has its own section of what? Obelisks. And this is exactly what we see in Maine. And I'll start taking pictures of it because I never did before, but all these Masonic cemeteries I go to, they have separate sections. The Christians are always divided. Basically, the common people are divided, and then you have a section of giant, gaudy, huge obelisks and Masonic symbols, right? Nothing's changed. That video I'm about to show you is in Switzerland, and this is Maine. That's a 33-foot one in Hollowell, Maine. Look up Hollowell. It's tiny. And just like you're about to see in this video, the Christian section is way, way over on the edge there. And all these pharaonic obelisks are next to one another. 33-foot one. Another massive one. I've showed you this before, the Satanic water fountain with the torch we see on the Baphomet's head, and then the goats. It's a good picture of it. The exact same symbolism we see in Switzerland. That's where he is right now. So, let's see.
This is especially some place to put a stone on. But anyway...
So notice, we just saw that section with all these obelisks.
There's another part here where there's no obelisk. You see that behind here. So maybe that's the Hebrew part.
So even in Switzerland, these people separate their gravestones. And what this tells us is we have, don't think of religion or race, we have a ruling class in the know, as George Carlin would say, and then we have a working class of regular people who are deceived, who have allowed themselves to be deceived. And it's no coincidence that cemeteries all across the Western world are laid out this way, with all the pharaonic masons and their obelisks in one section and all the regular common people and Christians in another section. I'll start taking pictures of that when I drive around. Pretty cool. What else we got here? Enemies' most likely course of action. Let me show you a headline from the Portland Press Herald. It's bad. So in the last episode, we talked about how they're doing like genomic sequencing as a form of testing for this. It's preposterous story. Complete pseudoscience, but people just eat it up. Basically at Jackson Lab in Acadia National Park, Rockefeller Lab, they are sequencing as much DNA as possible so that they can find differences between healthy and sick people. Just a bunch of BS. Bunch of BS. They're just mapping out our genetic code. Why? It's pretty obvious. Just like computer code, it can be manipulated. You can manipulate your DNA at home now with CRISPR. Check out this headline. Criteria for involuntarily committing patients in Maine is about to change. That escalated quickly. So basically this article talks about a 22-year-old who was withdrawing and got blue papered, called the emergency services on himself. And that just means they put you in a psych ward for 48 hours, and then a psychiatrist decides if you're going to leave or stay, which is already a very questionable process. But this kid ended up, he's a man, this is a grown man, 22 years old. He was held in hospitals for 39 days against his will. He had to go all the way to the Supreme Court of Maine to get out of these hospitals. He literally went through court after court after court. He had no ally. He had no help. He was fine. 39 days, dude. 39 days. So the article is talking about how, oh, this is so bad. This guy can't be in there for that long. What's causing this? Oh, we don't have enough mental health facilities. That's the problem. We don't have enough. As if people are just pouring into the hospital every day needing psychiatric help. No, they're not. Absolutely not. So, basically, what Eric Russell is trying to plant into your brain is the idea that we need to open up more centers that specialize in mental health. We need more inpatient mental health so that when we involuntarily commit people, they have somewhere to go. And why is this important? Well, I haven't been paying attention to the mainstream media or politics at all, but I do know all sorts of YouTube channels are getting affected, and it's different now. It's all about the banner. Have you noticed that? Videos that have nothing to do with 17 are getting the 17 banner. All over the place, right? It's because they're lumping all truth-seeking individuals, they're lumping all dissenters into this group of conspiracy theorists, and they're using 17 as a way to do that. Like, literally, people who are talking about a completely different subject that's never been brought up in 17 get labeled as 17. So, the New York Times here decided to let the paywall down for this one. It's called How the Biden Administration Can Help Solve Our Reality Crisis. And I read through it for the most part. It's trash, but let me just show you a part of this, and you're going to see how it connects to that headline we were just looking at, this mental health problem, right? Because I know it probably sounds ridiculous right now, but hear me out. They want to appoint a reality czar. Sarcophagus. Several experts I spoke with recommended that the Biden administration put together a cross-agency task force to tackle disinformation and domestic extremism, which would be led by something like a reality czar. It sounds a little dystopian now, Grant, but let's hear them out. Right now, these experts said the federal government's response to disinformation and domestic extremism is haphazard and spread across multiple agencies. Renee DiResta, a disinformation researcher, check this out, at Stanford's Internet Observatory. Okay, so you mean where you just spy on the internet? Yes. This person, Renee, gave the example of two seemingly unrelated problems: misinformation about C19 and misinformation about election fraud. What I just say, they want to lump us all together, right? And they're using 17 to lump these two groups together. These are the two biggest groups of dissenters that are trying to wake people up. People who are fed up with the stupid Wu flu and people who are fed up with the election, right? Continuing, often, she said, the same people and groups are responsible for spreading both types. So instead of two parallel processes, one at the CDC, oh my gosh, aimed at tamping down C19-related conspiracy theories, and another at the Federal Election Commission trying to correct voting misinformation. This is crazy. They're already doing this. Months ago, we looked at the CDC's plan for Maine, and they had already created an intelligence service at the CDC just for C19. There's already a dragnet. We're already being watched and recommended things, all sorts of stuff. There's a profile for every one of us. Don't be naive. So where they're going with this is, you see the CDC is involved, right? Let's read this quote real quick. If each of them are doing it distinctly and independently, you run the risk of missing connections, both in terms of the content and in terms of the tactics that are used to execute on the campaigns, Mrs. DeResta said. This task force could also meet regularly with tech platforms and push for structural changes that could help those companies tackle their own extremism and misinformation problems. For example, it could formulate safe harbor exemptions that would allow platforms to share data about QAnon and other conspiracy theory communities. Unbelievable. So yeah, there is a definite connection between mental health, conspiracy theories, and all of this censorship, totalitarian Nazism. So I think the most likely course of action is going to be to continue to label us and put us all under the banner of 17, to call us conspiracy theorists. And that might sound far-fetched to assume they're going to try and lock people up under mental health, involuntarily commit people who are dissenters, but you got to think about it. The sheep, the ones who are deceived, they get told by the news and their politicians that all of us, the people who aren't wearing masks and the people who aren't following along with this, we're killing people. You gotta understand that. The deceived, the sheep, they believe that. Like, if I walk into a store without a mask in Portland, 99% of people in that store think I'm carrying a biological agent. They think I'm putting people at risk of death, right? So it's not going to be hard for them to connect conspiracy theories with public safety. It's going to be very easy. They're going to do it right away. They're going to say all these conspiracy theorists, whether it's the election or it's C19 or it's VAXs, all of these people are extremely dangerous and they're causing C19 to spread and mutate and get worse. That is exactly what they're going to do. And ultimately, they want to increase the mental health hospital count in Maine from 2 to who knows. They want more beds. They want more rooms. They want it to be easier to involuntarily commit people, right? The whole theme of his article is that there's not enough mental health hospitals. That's why he was held for 39 days. It's just more witchcraft, more lies to get the people to think it's good that they're going to be building prisons, basically, for mental health patients or conspiracy theorists. That's definitely their next move. This article says, Audit the Algorithms. Several experts recommended that the Biden administration push for much more transparency into the inner workings of the black box algorithms that Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube use. Great. So we're going to give the federal government just complete oversight of everybody's internet action, while we have Stanford University already doing that. We have the Maine CDC with their epidemiological task force, intelligence service. It's all in place, and it's all moving very, very quickly. So, I mean, don't be scared, but we gotta be realistic here. They're going to start calling us mental health patients, and once that happens, that they, on paper, will be able to take you out of your home. Absolutely. I don't know how it is in Maine, but Massachusetts, a judge can issue what's called I can't can't remember what it's called, like a Section 12, I think? A Section 12, in which someone under 18 is, picked up and committed to a mental health facility. So they already have these laws and whatnot in place. So if they can just make the sheep believe that all conspiracy theorists are dangerous, are causing the Wu flu to be worse, are affecting the public safety, they will take people out of their homes and put them in hospitals very quickly. This is where this is going. And we all knew this, but I guess it's March. January, February, March. Yeah, March might be a bad month. So keep your ears open and keep looking for connections and put them in the comments between those things. Mental health, public safety, and conspiracy theorists. Because I think I smell an agenda cooking. Real quick, I'll show you some other headlines. Check this one out. Schools to get rapid test as teachers await VAX. Says below that. Meanwhile, for the first time in months, Maine's new daily cases fall below 100. Yay! But a second case of the UK variant is confirmed. Crazy. We're going to have a lot of variants because of these conspiracy theorists, right? Remember, guys, what they're doing to children in Maine, what they're doing to children all across the country is torture. It's actually torture. That's not me being hyperbolic. This is from the Bitterman Report, 1956. I do have it on my hard drive somewhere. It's from an international publication, like the quintessential one. The word Geneva is popping in my head, but I don't think that's it. Bitterman came up with his chart of coercion. So if you want to pause and read it, I'll scroll down. What they're doing to the kids is torture. A whole generation of children are being tortured. So pause and read. Yeah. Well, I think I'll leave it there. Like I said, keep your eyes and ears open because I think their next move is about to take place. I'll see you guys later.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.